Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at noon.
We begin with breaking news. Now, the Bemidji Police Department is asking for the public's help in locating a 16-year-old girl. Now, the 6-year-old girl's name is Elizabeth Paige Dominguez, and she was last seen at 1116 1st Street Southeast around 7 at night on Thursday. At this point, the investigation does not appear to be suspicious, but more voluntary. Elizabeth has brown eyes, brown hair, and has last seen wearing a gray sweatshirt, beige t-shirt with a flower design, and blue jeans. If you have more information concerning Elizabeth's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Bemidji Police Department, and that number is 218-333-9111. Now on to more breaking news. Fargo police says one man was wounded last night during a shooting in South Fargo. It happened just after 9 last night when police first called to the 1600 block of Gateway Circle South for a report of gunshots. Officers say several hours later they located a 20-year-old male in Moorhead with non-life-threatening injuries from the shooting incident. Officers say the man showed up at a residence with blood on him, and the man's friends called police. Neighbors living in the area say they heard multiple shots, and officers found several shell casings on the ground. New for you at noon. One man arrested after breaking into a U-Haul and rummaging through toolboxes. Now, Fargo police first responded to the U-Haul located at 4901 13th Avenue South around 1:45 in the morning for a male prying open an overhead door. The male was caught on video going through the toolboxes in the warehouse. As officers received the description of the male, they noticed this same male walking around the area. After the descriptions matched, 32-year-old Hamid Zuri of Fargo was arrested for burglary. Now, we were leaving the house this morning and we felt a little bit of a chill, but how about during this lunch hour afternoon? Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Well, it's looking good and it's feeling better out there than this morning. We're warming up. We're already seeing some 60s in some places, which is nice given how cool we've been the last couple of days. We're going to see some 50s and 60s when you step out the door for your lunch break right now. We're at 61 degrees in Fargo and in Grand Forks, 66 in Langdon. That is the warm spot today. And over to the east, we're still into the 50s, but we're working our way up. So we're already seeing some 60s, and this is going to continue into the afternoon. So starting that warm up now. And winds are out of the south, helping to bring in that warmer air. We've got a couple of gusts into the 20s. Langdon to 24, or Grand Forks rather, has a gust to 22 miles per hour. And taking a look at your radar and satellite map, you could see that up along the Canadian borders where we do have some clouds, especially northwest Minnesota, and radar indicating there might be a couple of sprinkles around Roseau. This will continue moving eastward, so eventually it'll ease up for you, but until then you've got a little more cloud cover there for today. So here's a look at our forecast. You can see we've got some blue sky, still a little bit of that wildfire smoke haze in the air, and temperatures that are going to be back into the mid 60s for highs in Fargo. We're going to have details on what you can expect as we warm up into the weekend and beyond coming up in your forecast.
And it's super exciting. We're getting a warm up as well. I am very excited about that. Thanks, Lisa. Well, one man is behind bars after one person was injured in a fight at a South Fargo apartment last night. Police say several people were involved inside one of the Cement Point buildings, which is east of Doolittle's. Fargo police say they were called to the 700 block of Gold Doctor Drive South for a disturbance involving multiple people trying to kick in the door of another apartment. Police say one victim came out of the apartment bleeding from his face. Police say 18-year-old C.J. Catheridge later ran out of the apartment and was arrested after a short-foot pursuit. President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden will both be making their way to Minnesota this afternoon to campaign. Local viewers explain the reason for why you should attend if you can and the importance of voting. Now, I spoke with them directly and have more. President Donald Trump making his way to Bemidji this afternoon, while former Vice President Joe Biden heading to Duluth, both aiming to gain Minnesotan voters to win the state.
Well, if you're unsure about what candidate you intend to vote for, then this is another source of information direct from the candidate aimed at voters like you as Minnesotans to trying to get your attention and get your vote. So that's one more source of information. I wouldn't rely on it alone, but it is one more source of information.
Back in 2016, President Trump losing the state of Minnesota by over 44,000 votes. This showing the importance of gaining these electoral votes. Both candidates trying to capture the 10 electoral votes in November.
It's more electoral college votes. That's, the magic number is 270 electoral college votes, and you get that by winning states. And if Minnesota is part of your calculation to get to 270, then you go to that state and you do everything you can to win it.
As Minnesota is considered a swing state, it is especially important to pay attention to what each candidate is saying.
I think Minnesota's very split state. We're very red and blue depending on where you are. So it's important for both parties to get a different perspective.
Hedrick also stating to pay extra attention to how each candidates are spending their funding.
Besides the rallies, the one thing to watch for is how the candidates are spending money in the state. Are both campaigns, besides showing up for these rallies, are both campaigns running ads? Are they working with the Minnesota Party, Democrats and the Minnesota Republicans to get out voters that could help all sorts of candidates, not just the presidential side? And so that's another thing to look for how important they think Minnesota is.
As residents between ages 18 to 30 are known to be the biggest group of non-voters, it is especially important for them to get out and have their voices heard when it comes to voting.
Oh, your vote definitely matters. I mean, if you don't go out and stand up for what you believe in, who's going to do that for you?
Brian Sherrod, Valley News Live. Well, the president will be at Bemidji Aviation Services at 6 p.m. and Biden will be at the Union Training Center in Duluth, although we're still waiting for the exact time. We have a team covering the Bemidji event, and you can look for the coverage on our Point of View at 6:30 on KX4. You can find the latest on Valley News Live and our VNL News app. Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers. In North Dakota, there are 508 new cases along with 2 more deaths. The death toll now sits at 184. The active case count is more than 2,986. In Minnesota, health officials are reporting 1,099 new cases of COVID-19, along with 8 new deaths linked to the illness. More than 1,900 deaths have been attributed to the disease. More than 80,000 people have recovered. Well, in a letter addressed to parents of Moorhead Public School students, officials announced today that Moorhead High School will transition to distance learning on September 28th in response to increasing COVID-19 case rates in the community. Moorhead Public Schools say pre-K through 8th grade will continue in hybrid learning. For more on this story, head over to our VNL News app. Well, the federal government bans TikTok and Wechat. Starting Sunday, the U.S. will begin blocking distribution of the Chinese apps. That means no new downloads. But TikTok will work for a few more weeks. The ban on critical services like internet hosting doesn't start until November 12th. Wechat ban, however, goes into full effect Sunday. The Commerce Department says the decision stems from the app's ability to collect huge amounts of data from users and their connections to China's military and intelligence services. Well, coming up at noon, some information on airline travel and spending. And let's hope for a bit of a warm up this weekend. Weather up next to plan your day.